All right, welcome to Cage Side Press, and with me today, fighting at UFC Vegas 77 on July 15th, Alexander Munoz. And Alex, thank you so much for joining me, but I do want to start off the bat. I haven't seen you fight in the octagon in 2 years. What's going on? Where you been?
Yeah, man, I've been training a lot, slowing things down. I actually tore my ACL like shortly after my last fight training. So it's been a hell of a comeback. This is my second one, so it's been like this one was a lot harder than my first one. My first one I actually fought with the ACL torn to get into the UFC. And right after I got my contract, I ended up having my surgery. Got a quick comeback. I think like after surgery, I was back in the cage in like 9 months or something like that. This time was a little bit slower of a process. I had some other things going on that kind of delayed it a little bit.
Yeah.
But fortunately, the UFC and Sean Shelby like didn't rush me back, and I figured this fight's very important. I didn't want to come back unless I was 100%, and if they weren't rushing me, they weren't like telling me I need to get right back in right away, then I was going to take my time and do everything I could so that I wasn't coming in just like a piece of myself. I wanted to make sure that I went to the UFC PI and they did like body scanning. So they ended up making sure that this leg is the same size. Like this leg's actually like 1% bigger because I did my rehab so well that I turned into a bodybuilder for like a year and a half. And I was just like, literally, that's what my PT told me. He was like, I want you lifting like a bodybuilder. I want you eating like a bodybuilder. I got up to over 200 pounds of muscle. Just dude, I was like lifting like a madman. And it ended up being a blessing in disguise. I'm a very fast twitch athlete. Everything I do is like, I want to be fast. I want to be first. I want to be last. And dealing with in serious injuries like this, they force you to slow down. They force you to, really learn the technique and be more technically efficient.
Yeah.
So, whereas at first, when it happens, you think, fuck, like everything goes through your head. Like, this is the end. This is like all these thoughts go through your head. And then you take some time and in retrospect, it's like, man, this is like one of the best things that could happen to me. I feel like I'm a much more well-rounded fighter now. I feel like I put a lot of time into my strength and conditioning. I didn't do strength and conditioning before. Like MMA was my strength and conditioning. So this helped me realize that like this is more than just MMA training. Like I need the whole kit. You look at like LeBron James, I saw that he puts like 2.5 million into his PT and like self-care every year.
Yeah.
And I was putting zero into it,
Right.
up until this fight. And now I have an amazing team around me. I've learned how to train smarter, harder. And because my body's stronger, I'm able to push my limits harder, and I'm able to like really feel comfortable being just like dog tired and like knowing my body's going to hold up, and letting people just rip kicks at my legs and being able to check confidently and being able to do the things that I need to do to compete at the level that I'm at. So it's been good. It's been a very hard comeback, but very worthwhile.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're healthy. That sounds like hell and back. It's a typical thing for MMA fighters, man. You guys got to battle through a lot of adversity. So thankfully, we're only 2 weeks away from seeing the return, and you've been staying busy at Alpha Male with Uriah Faber. So you've had what, a 2-year long camp, so to speak. Is it
right?
Like, just tell me a little bit about camp. Like, I've seen you been working with Clay Guida and all these names.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what I love about Team Alpha Male is we have a co-op. It's not just the coaches there. Like they're like the coaches are huge. Don't get me wrong. We have incredible coaches, but the names that you get to train with, the confidence you get when you go with those people and you do well, it's something that you can't really like recreate in other places who don't. You can't test yourself against that. There's always that question, you're training with guys who are like haven't done it and haven't been there.
Right.
And it's like, well, yeah, I'm smoking these dudes, but what's going to happen when I get in the cage with a guy that's one of the top guys in the world? Those are questions that I don't have to ask myself because I'm in there with those guys every day and I'm training every day against the best in the world. So that's a huge advantage of being at a gym like Team Alpha Male for sure. And having the support from Uriah and the other coaches is like also, so having those guys tell you like you have what it takes, believe in where you've been, believe in the work that you've put in, you know, and really just go out there and have fun and believe. That's the most important part, you know.
And out of all the killers in that gym, who's going to end up being in your corner?
So somebody that I'm actually excited about to have in my corner is my buddy Isaac Thompson. He's an up and comer, and a name that you probably haven't heard of, but I promise you will. He moved here from Australia and he's been living with me, and he's one of my main training partners. But this kid is like scary, man. He's next level, like that next generation that everybody talks about. This is who they're talking about. This kid is like so well rounded, coming from Australia. Um, he grew up in fight gyms and he's done it his whole life. He can fight southpaw, he can fight ortho. Coming to Team Alpha Male, his hole was if he had a hole, it was grappling and wrestling. And his commitment to his grappling, we meet every week, 2 to 3 times a week before practice. We get in an hour early, and him and I just like, dude, just meet head to head and just like grapple hard. And I mean, I'm really excited for this guy's future, and I'm going to bring him along with me. And I want him to go through the UFC process and see what it's like to go through fight week and go through, you know, what it is to be in a UFC event, because it's different than these local events. In a lot of ways, it's easier because the UFC has their shit together. It's not like, you know, your weigh-ins are on time. All your media stuff is on time. Everybody's like excited, and the people from the UFC are just a lot of fun to work with. Whereas sometimes in the more local promotions, it's a bit of a drag. It's kind of like hurry up and wait for everything. And so, yeah, that's like something I'm most excited about, is having him in my corner to be there and experience it and give him the opportunity. And he's so good. I mean, I trust him as much as I would, you know, any of my other coaches. Another guy that I'm bringing in is my buddy Thomas Fallon, Big Smash. This dude is sick. I mean, he's a big boy, and but he's very controlled, an incredible striker. But his knowledge and understanding of the game is next level. He actually is very Mike Malott-esque. Everything he does and teaches, it's like very proper and clean and like fun to watch. And when I see him do things, I'm always reminded of Mike. And Mike's been in my corner for my last several fights, and he's training out in Canada now.
Yeah.
And he's in the UFC now, and he's crazy busy. I'd love to have him in my corner again for this fight. But you know, with everything he has going on and everything, you know, it's kind of difficult. And sometimes it's like that with the guys I train in the UFC as well. When we have fights lined up at the same time and we have things going on, it just doesn't quite work out so that we can be there for each other. So I'm gonna miss having Mike, but at the same time, like I have Thomas, and I'm super stoked to have him.
Dude, Mike and Niagara Top Team, Jazz the Vicious, they're on a roll, man.
They're sick, and they're just such cool people. I was just talking to Mike the other day, and I'm excited to get out after my fight and go out there and train with those guys and spend some time in Canada. I got to before, and I fell in love with Canada, and I'm really excited to go back and spend some more time out there.
Before that, you got a big one. You got Carl Deaton for the return. So let me get your thoughts on him. How did this fight come about?
Yeah, so I went and I spoke with Sean and told him that, you know, and like I said earlier, I'm really grateful that Sean didn't rush me into my next fight. He like told me, he's like, take your time, get healthy, call me when you're ready. And a lot of people were like, come on, man, you got to get back in there. And, you know, I had issues going on, and I haven't been vocal about it. This is the first time I've spoken about my ACL surgery and kind of what's been going on. I've just kind of kept my head down and been grinding. And, you know, I know people are talking and saying like, whatever, creating their own story about what's been going on with me. And it's just something that you got to be cool with and just be confident in what you're doing and know you're doing the right stuff. And when I was ready, I did. I reached out to Sean, and he was true to his word and told me, like, yeah, dude, let's get it going. I had a meeting with him. We sat down. It was super cool. Um, and we spoke about some potential matchups. And Carl's name was brought up, and I was like, hell yeah, let's do that fight. Let's make that happen. And he said, cool. He reached out to Carl's team, and Carl was game to make it happen too. So respect and appreciation to him for accepting the fight and wanting to do this. So yeah, that's kind of how the fight came about.
Why Carl? You like his haircut or something?
Dude, the rat tail, man. That thing
Great,
is,
man.
ooh, yeah, it's
It's
something.
gnarly.
It's gnarly, no doubt. I hope he doesn't like have a special move where he whips it at me. Yeah.
Smack you across the face with it.
Yeah,
So
I'll be ready for it though. I'm ready for anything. Yeah, no stones unturned for this fight for sure.
from what you've seen of him, how do you think your guys' styles are going to clash against each other?
Man, I think I'm better everywhere. I think I'm going to be faster. I think I'm going to be a better wrestler. I think I'm going to have better striking. Wherever the fight goes, and this is like a pretty generic answer, like wherever the fight goes, I'm ready for it, which we should be. Like
Yeah,
with everybody, you can't have holes in your game once you're in the UFC. Like you can't be like, man, I hope this doesn't turn into a wrestling match.
sure.
I've wrestled my whole life. I hope it turns into a wrestling match.
Yeah.
I am fucking in love with striking right now. I want to get in there and like, if anybody who's seen me fight, like they know that like I want it to like it's kill or be killed out there. So like I just want to go out and brawl. So I'm but I think I'm also capable of hitting and not getting hit and getting like being clean in and out and using a little more athleticism. So I'm not really going out there and looking for any one thing. Like I want to be well rounded and show that I'm a complete fighter, and I want to fight him everywhere and just beat him up everywhere. So that's what I think you should expect to see.
Did you happen to see he had an interview, I don't remember with who, but he wasn't talking shit, but they asked what he thought about this fight and how he sees it going down. Did you see his answer on that at all?
No, I didn't. What do you say?
So, he was respectful. He was saying how he respects you. He was very excited for the fight, but talking his fighter stuff, he said he wants to beat you up so bad that your corner is forced to throw in the towel. Is that happening?
Has that ever happened for him?
What, his opponent throwing in the towel?
Yeah.
I don't believe that's ever happened for him. No.
Yeah, I'm not that guy. Yeah, not a chance, man. But if that's the fight he wants, that's the fight he's gonna get. We're gonna like get in there and we're gonna bang, and it's gonna be a bloodbath. I guarantee you that for sure.
Doing a good job selling the fight because you got me very excited over here.
Oh yeah,
And
I'm excited. I can't wait to get in there, man. It's been too long. It's something that like I've been chomping at the bit and being patient and just constantly visualizing how I want it to happen and seeing all the different ways it could play out. It's been a lot of fun building it up in my head and kind of like going through the process over and over and over and over again and just living and breathing this thing and cleaning up everything in my personal life to where that I'm going to be so bulletproof for this thing that I hope he's ready. I hope he's ready. Give the fans a good fight.
And there's so many levels to this for you, right? You're coming back after 2 years. There's an injury you're dealing with, and then another layer of this on top of your powerlifting, your new power. You start out 6-0 for your career, and then you have 2 close UFC fights that don't go your way.
Right.
So, like with the time off, sitting on 2 losses, your first 2 losses in your career in a row, is that just like a whole nother level of motivation to get back in the win column?
Talk about chomping at the bit to get back in there. It's after the Nosrat fight, Nosrat was tough. There's things in that fight that adjustments that I could have that I will make. I want that fight back. I want to fight Nosrat again. I will ask for that fight in the future for sure. I need to work my way up to where that is like, get people excited, get back in the win column, take these things one fight at a time. But dude, I think that fight showed that one, we don't throw in the towel. Like that dude when I fought him, he was like, what 10-1 with 9 first round knockouts. And dude, I ate every single one of his hardest shots. Like that dude, he fucking hit me hard. And I showed him, like, as soon as he hit me, I was like, fuck you, like, let's go, give me, like, I wanted more. I kept pushing forward. That's a fight that I think that if there was no time limit, I would have won that fight. Like, the more it went on, the better I did. And the plan for that fight was to kind of spend the first round and a half feeling his range, feeling his distance, and then put it on him in the next round and a half. And that is what we did, but unfortunately, it was too little, too late. And respect to him, that was a sick fight. But like I learned a lot from that fight, and I grew a lot from that fight. My next fight was really awkward. Both of those were against southpaws too, which are just like always like sloppy looking. I fight much cleaner against guys who switch stances or guys who are ortho. Like I enjoy that kind of a fight. So this fight will be different with my last fight against Pena. You know, that was a fight where it was like, okay, we're going to throw away 2 or 3. We know he likes to move straight back. We're going to throw away 2 or 3 punches to land 2 or 3 punches. And it was working throughout the fight. I outstruck Luis Pena.
Yep.
I landed more punches. I landed more kicks. I took him down 6 times. Dude, I won that fight in every single category. And it turned out to be one of the most disputed fights of the year as far as like robberies. So that, you know, that doesn't make it any easier to stomach. But at the same time, like, I don't feel like I'm coming off a loss of that fight. Like, I beat the brakes off that dude for 3 rounds, and you can expect the same thing, but a lot more intense with Deaton.
And with all the time off, are you looking to make up for lost time, so to speak, and stay a little bit more active in 2023?
Yeah. So my plan, I want to finish this fight, and then I have a schedule, meeting scheduled with Sean the following week after the fight. So I told Sean in our initial meeting, like, I want to go and fight this guy, and then I want to turn right back around. I'm getting married at the end of September, so I want to fight twice. Thank you. I want to fight twice before that, at least. So as soon as I'm done with this fight, I'm looking to turn right back around and make up for some lost time and get back in there and fight again.
And while you were talking, I looked up the scorecards, the media scorecards for you and Pena. Yeah, media thought you won that fight too, man.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's a tough sport, dude. It's a tough sport. You know what they say? Can't leave it to those stinking judges.
You can't leave it to the judges, and I don't plan on leaving this one to the judges. That was another lesson I took from the last ones. Is like, you leave it in their hands, you never know what's going to happen. Man, sometimes they don't know what they're looking at, and you have to show them what it is. You know.
And my last question for you: if I would have told you during your UFC debut that 3 years later you would still be fighting in the Apex Center, would you believe me?
Absolutely.
Do you like fighting there?
If you told me anything different, like in the actual Apex.
No, I'm not talking to UFC. I mean the Apex Center with no fans.
Oh,
there.
Dude. So that's another thing. After this fight, that's going to be in my meeting with Sean. Is like, please give me a crowd, give me some people. I want to hear the noise of the arena. I miss it so much. I haven't felt that since before COVID. And it's something that really fuels me, whether it's, Sacramento's my home now, and I feel at home in Sacramento. I would love to fight at the Golden One Arena here if they have another card here. At the same time, I'm born and raised in Texas. So, like, if we could get in the American Airlines Center, I've seen so many big shows there that it's always kind of like every time I'm in there watching somebody, whether it's a musician or a boxing fighter, the maps play, I'm like, man, one day this arena is going to be full and I'm going to be on that floor. So that's another dream of mine. So, I want that. But at the end of the day, man, put me in any full arena and I'm going to be happy for sure.
Well, you might not have a ton of fans at the fight this time because of the Apex, but you have a ton of fans watching on ESPN Plus and across the world. So that being said, before we get out of here, is there anything you want to say to everybody watching this interview? If so, the mic is yours.
Yeah, just thanks for all the people who continue to support me, especially without knowing what's been going on with me. like I said, I've had my nose down. I've been grinding, and I'm just so appreciative to the people who have stood by me. And when you go through what I've been through, you lose a lot of people that you think are your real friends and are like there for you no matter what. Dude, those people, like, they're out of there. And there's a very small group of people that don't stick around. Something my buddy Eddie Absolo told me is, he's like, dude, every fight that you have, just go out there and fight as hard as you can, and don't worry about anybody. He's like, whether you win or lose, um, the people who love you are gonna love you. They don't care about how you fight and what you do in the cage. That is like it's so important to you, but it's such a small part of life. And just go out and do what you love, and know that those people are still going to be there for you. And that's something that this process has really shown me, for sure.
Well, hey man, I appreciate the time, and more importantly, I'm very excited as a fan just to see you back and healthy and in good
Oh
spirits,
yeah.
ready to go. Because, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, July 15th at UFC Vegas 77, this is going to be a scrap. Both guys are saying it. They're both saying it's going to be a bloody affair. And when that happens, 50K is certainly on the line. So, Alex, thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much. And ladies and gentlemen,
Thank
don't
you,
miss
Jake.
it.
Appreciate you
Alexander.
guys.